We're going to get straight into it with ChatGPT, this AI robot that's taking over the world. Man, this thing is unbelievable. I've started using it. I'm getting friends message me, teachers. This guy, one of my teachers messaged me the other day saying like he's creating all of his like worksheets for his students. He's preparing all of his notes through AI. Now all of his students know about it. They're writing their essays through the AI robot as well. Like no one's doing any work.
Mate.
Just like
unbelievable. This thing has just hit the ground running. It is absolutely incredible. We've been using it all week. Our team has been using it all week. We're already using it in our business, and it's only been out for under a week. How incredible is that?
And I heard it's the fastest growing like software ever, like all-time record.
Mate, so Netflix was like 4 months to get to 1 million users. Twitter was Facebook was like 10 months to get to 1 million users. This was 5 days to get to 1 million users. This is what product market fit looks like, lad.
That's insane.
It is
talk us through
absolutely
it,
incredible.
Explain it to my nan or my mum.
All right. So look, this is just the next iteration of Google mixed with a little assistant. It's for those playing along, you can go to chat.openai.com/chat, and we'll put it in the show notes. And all this is a little prompt. You type in what you want, and it gives you a result. And the best way to describe this is, I think, to go through a couple of things that we've done. So one of the things I love about this is it can just summarize a huge wall of text and summarize it in a few sentences. I use this all the time. And you can even say summarize it for a grade 2 kid or a 5-year-old or someone who's been to university. So the first thing I did was summarize for a second grader. I went to YouTube. I got Leon's Polygon video. I got the transcript. I selected the entire thing, and it's got ERC20, ERC115 tokens, blah, 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 ZK solutions. And it summarized this huge wall of text into Polygon is a company that helps Ethereum scale. It's been very successful this year. They've committed nearly $1 billion, had 6 million new addresses, 170 million unique addresses, and 2 billion total transactions. They partner with big companies like Disney, Nike, Starbucks, Instagram. They are working on different scaling solutions. And then, like one more sentence, they are working to make the blockchain faster and more private. Like, how simple is that? That is like one aspect of it, right? I also got them to summarize the Bitcoin Wikipedia page for a second grader. So Bitcoin is a special kind of money you can use to buy things online. It's different from regular money because it doesn't require a lot of trust to work. It's also very secure, and you can use it without asking permission. Like, how simple is that? So that's like the summarization aspect of it. The other aspects are you can say, hey, generate me some ideas. I want to have VR that works on a pogo stick or something like that. And it will come back and it will give you so many options. Or you can say, write me a Twitter thread on this topic, make it have 10 points. You can say, write me a poem. You can write me a rap, write me some code. It'll write code for you. And it is unbelievable. And I particularly like how the model has a memory of what you've done. So Ben, I want you to go into your example that you posted to the group. And Ben's so funny. Like, so we've been talking about this all week, and Ben just barrels in. This is like day 5. And he's just like, I want everyone in the company to be using this right meow. And he posts a screenshot, and it's so funny. It was really good though, what you did.
So our content creator came back, and we were trying to find a better title because the title wasn't really that great. And one of our content creators asked me, he's like, Ben, what's a better title here? So I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to ask AI. So I wrote in, rewrite a better title that captures the audience's attention. And this was the current title that I wrote in: cryptocurrency roundup for November, in brackets, BTC, ETH, Sol, Uni, etc., etc. It then came back and said, top cryptocurrencies to watch in November, insert, BTC, ETH, Sol. I'm like, no, I don't want the asset tickers. So I said, rewrite it again without mentioning the asset tickers. And it came back and said, November's hottest cryptocurrencies, a roundup of the most promising digital assets. And I was like, oh my goodness. In about 15 seconds, that's taken you from like brain blockage of like not knowing or trying to think about and sitting there and like rewriting it out. I asked it 2 things. I asked it to optimize what it sent me before, and then bang, sent that back, and that was the new title.
How good. I've used this as well, where you write something out. You can even say, write a motivational speech for my team. I'm creating a new product. I need it done by X date. Just give it a few little prompts. So the way this works is you give the AI a prompt, It interprets it and it gives you a result. And then you can work from there iteratively. And I'm like, no, make it more emotive, make it more motivational. Use these words, add some swearing because that's how I talk. And I'm like, perfect. It is the tool to get you unstuck. And it can even do things like, I said, give me the top 5 points of the book Profit First. And it says, sure, here are the top 5 points. Calculate your profit margin, create a separate bank account, implement the 4. It summarizes a book for you because this thing has basically gone along and eaten the internet. And I said, can you explain point 3 with further examples? And then it goes through. So point 3 was implement the 4 rules of cash flow. And it goes through and explains each rule of cash flow. Spend only what you have and explains it. Pay yourself first and explains it. This is incredible.
Bergs, go a little bit deeper now. Like let's talk for the nerds of our listeners and including me. How does this actually work? Like, what is this thing doing?
So it's all based on text. So if you get a model, and they've spent, I can't remember how much it was. I think 20 million or more. Or maybe it was just 20 million to get it started to train this model. So in general terms, you've got this huge amount of data. And it looks for patterns within the data, quite simplistically. And it now understands comprehension of the way that a human would speak. You don't have to type like you would for Google using certain words in certain ways. It can interpret it. And really all it's doing is predicting what will come next based on what it already knows. So if you're writing something like Profit First, it knows what that book is and it knows what people have written about it on the internet. And even if we expand this to images, that base is based on alt text. So you have an image on the internet. When you hover over it, it's got some text. This is Ben on a boat in Sydney, something like that. That'll go into a database. So when people ask it to generate that, it generally knows it'll have 100, 1,000, 1 million images of that. Okay, these are the kind of shapes that I need to put in, and now I'll generate one. And really all it's doing in the background is using very fancy maths and a lot of computation to create this.
What blows me away is your ability to talk to it, though, like it's a human. Write this, update that, remove this. No, don't talk like that. Add emotive language. Add swear words. No, that's bad. Add 5 dot points. That's unbelievable.
And it's funny because you're just like, do this, do that, do this. Whereas I'm talking to it like a human. I'm like, can you please? It's so funny, man. And it's just a program. So with the book Profit First, I was like, that was great, but that's not how I learned. So I said, can you give me the top 5 points of Profit First in the style of Samuel L. Jackson with swearing? He goes, sure thing. Calculate your goddamn target profit margin. Create a separate bank account for your fucking profit. It's so good, man. This is just unbelievable. Out of the box, this thing just works.
So how do you foresee this changing careers, jobs? Is it going to improve them? Is it going to make some redundant, like content creators, research? How is this going to affect different sectors?
I did this for myself and I asked it to pump out a strategy for Amazon and where it's at, competitors and everything. And it did it. It was amazing. The challenge with this and the challenge with every industry is you need to be able to discern whether it's good or bad. So you need to have this skill already. All it does is helps you go faster. Because if you're green and you're like, this is great, and you put it down on paper, you don't know whether it's good or bad. You don't know how to extrapolate on it. You don't know what's missing. And the very hard example I'll use is coding. So we talked about Danny Postma before, and about 80% of the code that he writes is AI generated. He uses Copilot, but he knows what to write. So it's like, imagine you have, you're going to write an essay and you've mapped out every single thing in the essay and then you give it to someone else and they fill it out for you. That's what this is. But you need to have the framework. And when it comes back, you need to be able to discern whether it's good or bad. You need to know if that code will work, if it's secure, if it's efficient. It gets you to where you're going faster. So, and even in copywriting, it's not 100%, it just gets you there faster. So when it comes to AI, I firmly believe that it will not replace humans, but humans utilizing AI will replace those that do not, because their output will just be so much better, faster, and they'll be able to generate more novel things because they're not spending their time doing that repetitive work.
So the way I look at AI is like leverage. And before AI, in my role, I have an assistant, and that Haley helps me leverage my time to do more important things. But I've had assistants in the past where I haven't given them the right direction. I didn't know what I need them to do to leverage my time. So if you're going into this not knowing what they need to do or not knowing how to optimize the quality, you're not going to get anywhere. Now I can optimize my assistant's time to find me the best time to, so I can spend in the most valuable areas of the business. Same with AI. I tried to get the AI to help me write a LinkedIn post yesterday for my content. It was good, but it wasn't great. Yeah. But if I didn't know the content, I wouldn't be able to quality control that and optimize and iterate it. I then iterate it to post the LinkedIn content. I then said, turn this into a tweet. It gave me the tweet. It was okay. It wasn't great, but I was able to get me 50, 60% of the way there. I could take it into Twitter and then make it the difference. So I think, like you said, this is a combination of being able to make this, like coming together to make it better, not replacing humans. But if you don't utilize this technology, you're going to be outpaced and there's going to be a far better quality created from people that are utilizing it.
Absolutely. And even things like that where you've got infill and outfill. So you can write a few sentences and say, okay, extend on this. Or I've got the first sentence and last one, fill in the gaps here, and it will do it. Even things like make me a social media strategy, the stuff that comes back is very generic. And then you can go deeper and say, okay, how do I do that? How do I do SEO? But you have to remember what the model is based on. So it's based on eating the internet. It's not carefully curated content of the best ones. No. And if you think about the internet, the majority of it is just shit. So you're going to get all the wrong stuff in there as well. It's like when you're coding, you're going to get bugs in your code because it's eating a resource. And on that resource, the majority of the code is not good.
It's going to give you a head start. It's going to save you time, but it's not going to solve all your problems. Like, for example, we're trying to grow the podcast at the moment. So I typed in how to grow a podcast or how to grow the podcast, and it comes back very generic stuff. Do this, do that, da, 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 da. It's not going to solve the problem of everything. It's just going to give you some information, kicks out. I like it. Like what you said at the start. This is just like an iteration on Google. With you type in your question, but you don't have to go find the result. It's just giving you the synthesized result from the data that's being given.
Yeah, and you can be lazy with your questions. It understands better. I'm going more to this than I am to Google, but there is a challenge with that because Google's ranking algorithm and what people have rated and what they've actually clicked on is constantly feeding the model. Whereas with this model, it'll give you a result. If it doesn't work, you'll type something in. You're not saying that result is bad. Every time you're not like, this is bad, this is good, this is bad. You're not training the model in that way.
Yeah.
So there's a real challenge with this as well because the data within ChatGPT only went up to September 2021 and then it's only select data after that. So I typed in a question. I said, is FTX safe to trade on? And the model AI came back and said, yes, FTX is a safe and secure cryptocurrency trading platform. It has measures in place to protect user accounts, such as two-factor authentication and encryption. They also use cold storage for their cryptocurrency holdings, which prevents them from being hacked. Additionally, the exchange takes regular security audits and complies with regulations in the jurisdictions that it operates in. That's horseshit. FTX is dead. So you have to be aware that this thing is just going to get you to where you're going faster, but you have to determine the direction and the path. You cannot let AI determine that for you. You still have to use your human brain for the sense check, for the kind of common sense, the knowledge. And then you have to be like, okay, we're going in the right direction. Now do it again and do it faster or do it in this way.
Yeah, it's not a solution to everything, but it can certainly assist you in getting to the result faster. But in terms of trust, yeah, that you still need to do your sort of checks and balances. Like, for example, if I want to learn about marketing, I'm not going to go to the chat AI. I'm going to go to like HubSpot. I'm going to go to like a marketing specialist, right? Or a consultant or a coach, someone that's had that experience that has that unique opinion or understanding of the market, not the generic.
Exactly. And with this, so you kind of were asking, where is this all going? And this is just the start. I firmly believe that we are going to get artificially generated content. And I'll give you an example. And this was thanks to Danny and Bilal on their chat as well on their pod. And if you think about it now, you wake up in the morning, you've got a couple of news sites, you'll hit them like maybe Hacker News, Indie News, CoinDesk, whatever it may be, and you read the top 5 things. Google even puts that on the side of your phone. You can just swipe and it will have all the top things that you've interacted with. What's going to happen now is you can get those articles or podcasts or whatever it may be, chuck them through Whisper or whatever it takes. There's another OpenAI product to convert that to text because everything is based on text. You can then summarize it. Instead of having 5 hours worth of content, get the podcast, get the news article, summarize it into 5 minutes. Now get an AI voice to read it to me. So every morning you get your personal news feed read as a podcast to you in 5 minutes. That's where this is heading. Then the next iteration on that is, well, I'm AI. I know all these news sites. I know what you like. I know what you interact with. I'm just going to generate the content myself. So you have AI generated content delivered to you, so you'll get individual news for yourself. And that's what's happening now within the model. There's a base level model, but when you interact with it, the model changes and it has a bit of a memory. So if you start typing things in your model, it'll be different to mine because the inputs will be different. So you're all getting different results. It's just such a fascinating thing. And look, we're already using it in our business. We use it for our content. We use it to summarize. We use it to fill things out. We say, hey, grab this content, make a 10 tweet thread. And that just helps us get unstuck. You don't have to start right at 0. You're starting at like 50. It just makes things a lot smoother. And mate,
It's brilliant.
mate, I'm going to end this with, this is cracking. This is shout out to my boy, Joe. Lad. So he gets on there, right? And he's a software engineer. Like the rest of them, he's fueled on coffee, depression, and rage. So he writes in, can you write an excuse? This is to AI. Can you write an excuse to why there were bugs in my code in the style of Donald Trump? And it comes back, the bugs in my code are fake news. I wrote the greatest code in the history of code. Believe me, the best code. And these so-called bugs are just an empty attempt by the dishonest media to make me look bad. Sad. How good, how good. In my dodgy Donald Trump voice. And then he asks it, can you do the same, but in the style of a slightly depressed developer on cocaine? So it goes, there's bugs in my code? Yeah, I don't even know. I was up all night working on this thing, pounding back the caffeine and coke, trying to make it perfect. But somehow, somewhere, the bugs crept in. I'm not even sure how it happened. I'm just a tired, depressed developer on too much cocaine, trying to make it through the day. And then he goes, can you make it more depressing in tone? And he goes, the AI goes, sure. Like there's bugs in my code. They're a reflection of my life. I'm a failure. I can't even write a simple program without introducing mistakes. I'm just a miserable excuse for a developer stumbling through my days in a fog of depression and self-loathing. The bugs are just a symbol of everything that's wrong with me. And he replies, perfect. How good. Like, oh my God. It is so next level. It is just amazing, mate. Oh, brilliant. I love it. I love it.
Technology.
And look, we're going to keep using this and we'll keep everyone up to date on how we're using the tools we're implementing. Oh, and Zapier just announced that you can now use this as a Zap. So you could literally connect this to Slack. You could connect it to WhatsApp, Telegram. So on your WhatsApp, it's like your own personal assistant. You could just ask it questions and it will reply. So you can now integrate this. You're starting to see this with Notion and a few other products, integrating AI as a service, like on top of their existing product. So I'm pretty sure we're going to do that this week. Have it in Slack, just have a channel where you can ask it questions. You don't have to go to a website. Going to be amazing. Oh,
that's super
and
cool.
Wait, we've got one more example. People have been using this in magical ways. And one guy, he's I think he's a business coach. And there's a guy that owns a business. I don't know. I can't remember what it is. It's something like a plumbing business, something like that. And his spoken English is quite good, but his written English is very, very bad. So he set him up with a basic WhatsApp, an integration with Gmail and ChatGPT. And the guy types in, like mail Marie, send to, like, you couldn't even understand it. And it was basically, send a quote to them or something like that. And it wrote, Dear Marie, thank you so much for blah, 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 kind regards, and this person's name. And he was actually able to close multiple deals. Actually, no, I think it was a different role, it wasn't a plumber, but he was able to close multiple deals because his English was so much better because of this one little thing. And he never would have been able to do that over email previously. How incredible is that?
That's awesome, man. That's really nice.
So good, mate.